going to be a video for parents, parent considerations for Google Classroom. So as we are now, well into this at-home learning, it has become apparent that it's difficult for some to navigate, to check on their students, to see what they're doing, to kind of understand how to ask them if they are doing their assignments, and to see sort of maybe even grades on those assignments. So I am going to, in the fastest way possible, try to help you as a parent or as a guardian understand what it is we're asking of students, and some ways that you can help check and see what they are doing in Google Classroom. So one thing that we can do for you, if you think this would be helpful or useful, is we can provide, through Google, they provide what is considered a guardian summary. And you can, once you are invited by us, you provide us with the email address you want us to send this invitation to, then and then you get an email and are asked to accept the invitation. You would then choose if you want to receive that email summary daily, or if you want to receive that email summary weekly. What the Guardian email summaries include is a list of missing work at the time the email was sent. And so obviously, if the Guardian email is sent at 5 o'clock and it says they have a missing assignment, and then they turn in that assignment at 5:15, then that email summary is, now not going to be correct. So it can only be correct up to the moment that the email summary was sent, as far as missing work is concerned. It also includes information about upcoming work, like for the next week, if there's something in there that's posted for the upcoming week. It can also, and will also, give you information about class activity, and just kind of explain sort of like what the assignment was in brief detail. It doesn't go into great detail. So this is an email summary. This is what it would look like if you choose to say, yes, I would like to receive these summaries, and you give us the email address you want the summary invitation to be sent to. Then you receive that in that email, of course, and you click accept once you receive the invitation. Then it will ask you here to choose if you want to receive that weekly or daily. So daily is obviously going to be a little bit more email. You're going to get one every day. And then weekly, it's going to include a lot more. The summary is going to be longer, but you wouldn't receive them as frequently. It does also ask you to choose the time zone so that Google knows what time zone you're in, as far as when the dates and times are due of assignments. You need to select your time zone there. If you have multiple children, which I know is the case for several of our parents, you can receive these summaries for both students. It's set up so that you can receive the different summaries if you have more than one student at this grade level. So this is just a little bit closer picture of what it looks like. So it would show that these assignments that are red, these were missing assignments for this student. It gave the due date and shows that they are red, as they are still missing and not turned in Google Classroom. And then a little bigger picture of what it looks like for something that would be due next week. I will say, though, that most of our assignments, we are not loading into Google Classroom ahead of time. We are loading them pretty much on the day. So we're not going to have a whole lot of assignments showing for due next week. Most of our assignments are coming out daily. Another way, or another thing that would be helpful for you as a parent or a guardian, is to ask your student in their account. You cannot access this as a parent. The only way to access any of this portion is for you to go to your student and say, all right, open your computer, open your Chromebook, open your tablet. I want you to go into Classroom, and I want you to show me your to-do list. So the student to-do list is here in the top corner when they're on their main Classroom page, and they click on this to-do list, and then it will show assigned, missing, and done. They have 3 categories in the to-do list. Assigned is what is showing underneath here. So this week, I have all of these assignments assigned to me. So I'm using a student account here, one that I set up. So I have a lot of things assigned to me this week, okay? and they're going to have at least one pretty much assignment for each of us every day. So they're going to have quite a bit assigned to them on any given day and then at any given time. But you'll notice the second tab is missing, and that's probably where you're going to want to look most. And then there's also a done tab. So to show you what missing looks like, I'm going to move my camera. So here are 3 assignments at the time I took this picture. This one was missing, and it was due Friday, September 4th. This was missing. It was due Tuesday, September 3rd, and this one was due Thursday, September 3rd also. So I currently, as a student, have 3 missing assignments, and they are in red, and that indicates to me that they were not turned in. Maybe I did the work, maybe I didn't hit the turn in button, or maybe I never opened the assignment. I haven't done anything, okay? So then that last category or last tab is done. So if an assignment is done, that means it was turned in. And so on this assignment, you can see I turned it in, it was done late. And so it notes that it wasn't turned in before the due date. This assignment I have done, and it's already been graded by my teacher. I received a 10 out of 10. This assignment, oddly, I received a 10 out of 10, but it says not turned in. And so that's rarely going to happen, but this was an assignment. And as a student, I didn't really do this work for Miss Wright, so she gave me a 10 out of 10 to move that off of her missing work screen. But there's a chance that your student would have one like that, where they received a grade, it says not turned in, and that would be an individual case-by-case basis where the teacher felt that the student had tried and maybe couldn't do it, or something wasn't working, and so maybe we go ahead and give them a grade in a very special circumstance. Usually it's either going to say turned in, or it's going to have a grade next to it. Okay. So here's another screen that just kind of shows a little better what you might see. And assignment due dates really matter. Assignment due dates impact the status of the assignment on the student's end. Okay. So if it was returned and graded, you're going to see a grade, 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, 15 out of 15, whatever it is. If you see a check mark next to an assignment, that means the teacher asked for this, but chose for it not to be something that was a grade. So maybe it was just something simple, and we've checked it. We've seen that they've done it, but it's not an official grade in the grade book. This assignment is still showing as assigned because it has no due date. So it's not technically missing because there wasn't a due date associated with the assignment, but it also means that it hasn't been turned in yet, okay? Because then it would say turned in. This assignment is clearly missing. It's red. It's past due. This assignment was turned in, but the teacher has not graded it yet. So if you see something as turned in, the teacher has not had a chance to look at that and return it with a grade, at least not yet. There's another way to easily see what students are missing for individual classes, because the to-do thing that we were just talking about, the to-do list, is for all classes together. So that is every class that that student is enrolled in. And right now, students are enrolled in our 4 content area classes, 4 special area classes. So technically they have 8 classrooms that they would have assignments for on the to-do list showing up as assigned, missing, or done. This method is what I call the clipboard, and it's this little icon down here. I know it kind of looks like a head, but it's supposed to be a clipboard. And if you select the clipboard for an individual class, if you ask your student to come to this screen and ask them to click on the clipboard for language arts, then they're going to get a detailed list of every assignment I have ever given in language arts, but it's only for that class, that individual class. It's not going to show all classes, just that one class. So in language arts, from the time we started school until now, these are all the assignments I have given. So I did this one, I got a 10 out of 10, I didn't turn it in on time. This one I did, I got 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, and they were turned in on time. This one turned in late. It has not been graded yet. The teacher has not returned this assignment. Missing, missing. I have not turned these in, okay? So I think this screen is honestly the easiest to use, but it would require that you go back and click this clipboard for each class. So what Google has tried to do to make it easier for students is to use the to-do so they can see them all together. But I think sometimes that's a little more confusing, especially because they have special area classes And those assignments are kind of like a weekly basis. They're not a daily basis. And I don't even know if some of them have due dates. So maybe it would be easier at this time for you to use the clipboards on language arts, reading, math, and social studies, so you can get a clear picture and your students get a clear picture of what they have done so far in that class, what is missing, what is turned in, what has been graded. It's just a really easy way to look at that. There's something we need to discuss here because this has caused a little bit of issue, I feel, on the student end and a little bit of frustration on the teacher end. When a student is given an assignment, they either have a button that says mark as done, or they have a button that says turn in. Mark as done means that there was no attachment that the teacher gave. It was an assignment where we wanted them to go out maybe and send us an email. That was an assignment I gave where I wanted students to practice using their school email. So I said, please go out, send an email, and then come back and mark as done so I know you've done this assignment. Students can click this mark as done without ever having done anything. So my assignment was go send me an email and then come back and click mark as done. Well, if the student clicks mark as done and they never send the email, they're going to say that assignment is turned in. Their screen is going to show this assignment is turned in. But on the teacher end, I'm going to go in and see that student never sent me an email. So I'm not going to grade that assignment. I'm just going to return it back to them. So within a second, a student's assignment can show as turned in, and I can return it to them and make it show as not turned in. On the other screen here, if an assignment has an attachment where we've created something for them to put their answers on, they have to open this attachment. They have to complete the questions, fill in the blank, move the circles. They have to do something on their end to complete that assignment. Then they come down here and click turn in. Well, unfortunately, it's the same exact thing. The student can click this turn in button without ever having opened, looked at, or touched anything within that assignment. So it's what we would call blank. They can turn in a blank assignment. They never open this, they never do any work, but they click the turn in button. As soon as I go in to check assignments, I'm going to see that it's blank. I'm going to return it right back to them with no grade, but with a comment that says, this is not complete. Please complete the work and turn it in. So I think this is where some frustration is happening for a few. When we did our lesson last Friday, we sent students a message, you're missing work, and many were saying, well, everything says turned in. It might show as turned in on your screen. It doesn't mean you completed the work, okay? Handing in a blank worksheet, if we were here in the building, is not the same as handing in a worksheet or an assignment that is completed. So please make sure you talk with your students, as we have, about the fact that for an assignment to be completed and graded by us, it must actually be done. The work must be done, okay? So eventually, if the student keeps turning that in over and over again, blank, eventually we're going to give them a 0, okay? And their score will just be a 0 for that assignment. I have asked on a few assignments, and there might be other times when someone asks them to take a picture and upload it to their work so that we can see what they've done. I spent 2 days worth of class giving instructions on how to do that. I've made videos that are on my YouTube channel and attached within the assignments where they were supposed to add a picture. Most students at this point seem like they've gotten that. I don't think that's a problem, but the instructions are here in this presentation, which I'll be sending, about how to attach a picture if a student needs to attach a picture of their work. Okay, so those directions are in here. They're also in videos on my YouTube. If you need more help or have questions about that, please reach out to me. The last thing is calendar view. So calendar view is another way for students to view when assignments are due. It's a literal calendar, like an agenda. So up here next to the to-do button, they have a calendar button. When they open that calendar, it literally opens a calendar and it shows them each day what assignments were given or what assignments were due. And they can click on these, okay, and it will open immediately to that assignment. So this is a way to keep them on track in terms of what is due each day. They come to the calendar view and they can see on the 31st, this assignment was due. On the 1st, I had these 3. On the 2nd, I had these 4 or 5 assignments. So calendar view is something that I have shown them all. Again, we've encouraged them to use it to keep themselves on track and check and make sure that for each day they've done what they need to do. The last thing here are more resources. There is a video from the Mr. Vaca, who I've sent videos from before. He kind of explains Google Classroom. And then this page, I'm actually going to click and open. This is from Google itself, and it's like directions for email summaries for guardians. So if you would like the email summaries and you're having trouble, this page kind of goes through and walks you step by step how to set that up. But for that, again, we need to know, first of all, who's interested in receiving those summaries. And I would need to know which email address you want that invitation to be sent to. I will tell you, if you have a Gmail account, it seems to work better. If you do not have a Gmail account, it's still possible, but I've heard some other people saying that if it's a non-Gmail account, they had a little more trouble setting it up. So it doesn't mean it's impossible, but if you have a Gmail, it might work better. You can message me through Dojo and say, yes, I would like to receive the email guardian summaries, and here's my email. Or you could message your homeroom teacher, whatever is easiest for you. But I'll be happy to send those invitations. I'm going to attach this presentation to the Dojo so you can look back at these slides if you need. If you are still struggling to figure out, how I can best help my student to make sure that they have done what they need to be doing, I really recommend the to-do button and the clipboard button. In my opinion, those are going to be the easiest way for you to check. Please let us know if you need something else, or if you feel there's something else that we could do to help make this process easier for at least the next 2 weeks, and for our virtual students all the way until December.